I'm Judy Wineland, co-founder of Thompson Safaris and a board member of Focus on Tanzanian Communities. It was about 15 years ago that a group of Thompson Safaris travelers ventured into Tanzania on safari and visited a local school outside of Arusha. For those very ambitious people, the journey did not end when they stepped foot on the plane to come back to the United States. Wanting to kind of give back to this country that they fell in love with, they formed Focus on Tanzania Communities, which is dedicated to health, education, women's empowerment, and supporting various community projects across northern Tanzania. Focus on Tanzania Communities, which we call FoTZC, works very closely with Thompson Safaris and has these very deep ties to local communities on the Thompson Safaris route. In fact, it is the continuing support of friends and travelers like you that has made it possible for FoTZC to be able to fund the 15 schools that we support in northern Tanzania, as well as help educate about 15,000 students annually. We've also supported women's entrepreneurial programs, helping women start their own businesses. We've helped young students become more effective with their learning by providing teachers' houses and a much better infrastructure for education. And at Thompson Safaris, we continue to support FoTZC at every level, both financially here in the United States, as well as kind of our operation and ground support in Tanzania. And as a board member for Focus on Tanzania Communities, and as a business owner in Tanzania for 30 years, I want to thank you wholeheartedly for your continued support, and outstanding support that you've given to FoTZC. And I encourage you to continue to support FoTZC in the future.
I'm Richard Johnston, President of Focus on Tanzanian Communities. At FoTZC, we're committed to providing a means for those who are moved by the amazing spirit of the Tanzanian people to be able to contribute to projects which directly benefit entire communities. Our mission is to collaborate with Tanzanian communities to overcome economic and social challenges through a working partnership that directs resources toward sustainable projects. We give special focus to proposals that support education and women's empowerment.
Umuhimu wa shirika la Focus of Tanzania Community inasaidia kujenga shule, madarasa, nyumba za walimu, kuchimba maji kwa maeneo kafu na kusaidia elimu kwa ujumla kwa wale wasiojiweza.
All projects funded by FoTZC need to be verified, so our board of directors will visit Tanzania at their own expense, visit the projects to make sure that they're done to specifications, being used to meet the community needs. In addition, we employ somebody on the ground who makes sure that all the projects are running as expected.
Well, we've had a variety of visits. We've visited a school at Orkiu. We went to the primary school and the secondary school, and we also went to the beading project, and we went to the stove project in Monderosi. So in the last, it's only been 2 days really that we were on the ground looking at the projects.
Well, it's hard. You know what comes first.
In this village, as well as other villages we visited, women, if they have the wherewithal, are acquiring stoves for their houses. What the stoves do is reduce the amount of smoke in the house dramatically, which historically has created many respiratory and eye problems. Secondly, it has resulted in the women not needing as much wood to maintain the stoves, reducing it substantially. I may not have my percentages quite right, but I'm going to say 60%, which means they don't have to spend as much time gathering wood. Secondly, less wood is being used, which is ecologically very good.
We work actually very closely with the government on the Millennium Goals, which one of those is the empowerment of women. But the piece that we focused in on Focus on Tanzania communities is the idea of opportunity and resources. So we bring professional beaters who have a very different skill level than some of our very traditional Maasai women and teach them actually new beading techniques, and then our tourists come and buy the Maasai jewelry, which then enhances their entire lives. They're able to afford better schooling, they're able to afford much better living conditions.
Sometimes Focus on Tanzanian Communities comes in, and in partnership with the community, we'll build a kitchen. This is what a typical school kitchen looks like. This one happens to be inside, but sometimes they're outside. Either way, they're not sanitary. Sometimes if we get enough commitment from the community, we'll work in partnership with them to build a cooking facility. They build the structure, we donate the high-efficiency cookers. The net result is that kids get a lot to eat, they don't get sick, and a lot less firewood is used.
I'm Rick Harriman. I'm from Cambridge, Mass. In the United States. We came to Tanzania in 2003 on safari and just fell in love with the country and visited a number of the schools. And my daughter was killed in an automobile accident, and Michaela was very much of a community person. She just is a natural community builder. So it felt like a very natural thing to do, is to build something that would be a community center.
One of the underlying premises of all the projects that Focus on Tanzanian Communities supports is that they partner with the communities in sustainable projects. And what that means is that the communities present their desire to make a difference or to do something meaningful. And so one case we visited while we were here was a maize mill. A group of Maasai women up in the Loliondo district had asked for a maize mill to not only grind their own corn, but in order to grind corn from locals. And as a result of coming in and building it, FoTZC funded it, together they're now making a profit and they're reinvesting that profit. And very interestingly, they've purchased bulls, and with those bulls they can continue to make additional profit and to develop and expand their business. And they're at the point where they're trying to figure out how they diversify their business into something else. So one very simple project, not very much money, having a huge impact in a small community.
uvumilia, upendo ustahimili, upendo utumaini, upendo hauhusudu, hauna ila, hauhesabu mabaya. Upendo utumaini, upendo hauhusudu, hauna ila, hauhesabu mabaya.
Tujalie upendo wa kweli, tupendane maisha yote.
Haiye, haiye, maisha yote.
Bariki kanisa lako lidumu upendoni, upendo wako ujae tele.
Kanisa lako lidumu upendoni.
E Bwana, utujalie upendo wa kweli, tupendane maisha yote.
Haiye, haiye, maisha yote.
Bariki kanisa lako lidumu upendoni, upendo wako ujae tele.
Ndio Bwana. Kanisa lako lidumu upendoni.
Sasa Bwana utubariki,
Watoto wako
utujaze upendo tele,
moyoni mwetu,
tupendane sisi kwa sisi,
maisha yote
pendo lako lidumu kwetu.
bila kukoma.
Sasa Bwana utubariki,
Watoto wako
utujaze upendo tele,
moyoni mwetu,
tupendane sisi kwa sisi,
maisha yote
pendo lako lidumu kwetu.
bila kukoma.